So I'm here today to talk about whether or not Monkey D, Luffy, post time skip is stronger than the Ace Portugas D Ace that we know of. And this topic has been circling about the One Piece online community for a while now because, well, we're all kind of wondering, like, Luffy has pulled some pretty impressive shit thus far. Let's be honest here. What he did to Noah was pretty damn impressive. And from then on, folks are like, yo, has Luffy surpassed Ace? So, I am here to give my 2 cents in a discussion video because I believe I've stated this before in like past videos, and I think my answer may have changed since then because now we know a little bit more about Luffy's power. But again, I want to get everything in one nice little package in this video. So, that being said, first of all, when it comes to Ace, you have to realize a few things. Number one, Ace has a lot of hype. And when it comes from a hype standpoint, Ace is, just like Marco and Joe's, supposed to be able to take on admirals. So for example, you have Marco who took on Kizaru. And you have Jozu who took on Aokiji. And the only reason why they lost their bouts is because when Whitebeard was, I forgot what happened to him exactly, but I think it was a Kainu. I'm pretty sure it was a Kainu who like distracted them from their fights. Like a Kainu got like a good hit on Whitebeard, and then Jozu and Marco, they looked the other way, and then the admirals capitalized. Now, that being said, if we assume that Ace is on admiral level, like Jozu and Marco, then can we say the same thing for Luffy if Luffy is supposed to be stronger than Ace? Now, that's, very shaky because I wouldn't put Luffy on admiral level, at least not yet. And when it comes, for example, let's take a look at Sabo. Sabo, in this arc, Dressrosa, he was struggling against Fujitora. You could see Fujitora, he had no marks, and Sabo, he had a few marks, a few bruises. Though, I'm not going to say that he would lose to Fujitora, I'm just saying that because he just got the powers of the Memory no Mi, so he's not used to them. So, that being said, there's some leeway there. So, would we put Luffy on the same level as Sabo? And would we put Luffy on the same level as hyped up Ace? And I say hyped up because from a power scaling standpoint, that's the way it should be. Ace equals admiral level. However, from a feat standpoint, you can't really go that far. Now granted, in the flashback, Ace fought, I think, 5 days against Jinbei, which was very impressive. And then you have Ace, who was able to destroy several galleon ships that belonged to Crocodile's men, the millions or the billions, whatever they're called. And then you have Ace, who was able to block an attack from Aokiji directly. And, it's very impressive. He negated Aokiji's attack completely. Though, that's more of a Dufu thing. Because fire and ice cancel out, but in the case of a Kainu, not the case, because magma superseded the fire of Ace. And then, we have Ace, who was bested by Blackbeard, but Blackbeard is Yonko. Yonko topple everybody. The Yonko are the strongest fuckers on the planet, with maybe the exception of Monkey D. Dragon. Again, we're not sure about that one. Now, what's obvious here is that in this fight, Blackbeard used his black hole ability, the Kurozu, and he was able to negate some of the powers of Ace. So the question here is, when Blackbeard negated the powers of Ace, did he only negate the ability to become intangible from Ace because Ace is a Logia? And from that standpoint alone, a Logia supersedes a Paramecia. So on that foundation, Ace would have an edge over Luffy. But the question here is, when Blackbeard uses Crows against Ace, Did he only specifically negate the intangibility ability, or did he nerf his powers completely? Therefore, when Ace performed his St. Elmo's fire and had the two spears going through Blackbeard's body, when he performed the Entei, were all these abilities nerfed because of Blackbeard's initial attack on Ace when he touched him with that cross? Not too sure. I'm not too sure at all. My assumption then was that Ace couldn't go intangible. But now that I think about it, maybe his powers were nerfed completely. Because I do remember it was stated by Oda that Ace, he could destroy an entire city with ease. And I do remember when Ace was on Drum Island, it's not a testament to his powers, but more so just his abilities. When Ace was on Drum Island, I remember they were saying how like it was snowing, because Drum Island, it usually snows for continuously. But when Ace got there, it stopped snowing, which was fairly rare on Drum Island. So Ace's own presence affects the weather. So the question here is, maybe Ace's Entei that we saw against Blackbeard was a nerfed Entei. Maybe he could deliver more destructive power if he had not been touched by Blackbeard. Because if that's the case, then he may be stronger from that standpoint than Luffy. Because when you look at the feats, when you look solely at the feats of post-time skip Monkey D. Luffy compared to Ace, Luffy's feats beat Ace's feats. Let's be honest here. He destroyed half of Noah. That required several big-ass Sea Kings to carry. Mind you, I would have said it in an SBS. That, or I think he's either that or it was a... Like, he did some novel about, like, the One Piece world, I think he stated it in. I'm not too sure. But either way, he stated clear and simple that these Sea Kings are, like, at least 5,000 meters in height. 5K. 5KM, bro. That's insane. And that's the frog one. The freaking huge-ass zebra one. Fuck, he's toppling shit. And several of these Sea Kings in a flashback could fit inside Fishman Island, which means that Fishman Island has to be at least, from the shore standpoint alone, has to be at least like 10 to 15 kilometers in overall radius, because it could fit like 5 Sea Kings in a panel. Fuck it, let's go 20 kilometers. And Luffy destroyed a ship that was half the size of the entirety of Fishman Island. And mind you, the wood was far more durable than average wood, because the wood could survive 10,000 meters of water pressure. It's like what, like 14,000 psi, something like that. And not only that, but it did so for like 800 plus years. So that's some durable ass wood. And Luffy destroyed half of that ship. Luffy's Grizzly Magnum, he was able to destroy the giant steel doors behind Caesar Clown. Caesar Clown himself was covered in the Shinokuni poison gas armor, and sent him jettisoning across the entire mountain side. The entire mountain side. Until he hit the steel tanker on the shore. With one Grizzly Magnum. And Luffy didn't break a sweat. It was a Grizzly Magnum, poison on the hands, it breaks off, and then, whatever. Not a big deal. And then finally, there's Haki. When it comes to Haki, Luffy has clearly shown excellent usage of Armin Haki, of Observation Haki, and of Hao Shogun no Haki. Pre-Tatsu Ace on Flashback, when he was with Ace, Luffy, and Sabo, and they were with, I think her name is Dadan, I forgot her name, but she's awesome as shit. But when Luffy was being attacked by those pirates, and he was about to die, Ace hockeyed up in the midst of the fire on, I forgot what it's called, the junkyard area of the Goa Kingdom. So, Ace knows Haki. At least I would assume so, because he did it back then. But he never really showed that much usage of armaments or even Observation Haki throughout the entirety of his character. So, that's, it's... I can't say for sure that he can use Option Haki and Armament Haki to the same degree as Luffy, but he should be able to have at least some degree of it. He should at least. So the question here then boils down to, do we base Luffy and Ace from a feat standpoint only, or do we raise Ace's power because we power scale to that of an admiral? And me personally, I would go feats over power scaling for the most part, because feats are very important to gauging one's character, combat ability. And based on that, I'll have to say that at this point in time, Luffy is stronger than Ace. And that's, again, that's only because I choose feats over power scaling. I don't ignore power scaling. I understand power scaling. But as far as I see it, Jozu and Marco, so let me rearrange it now when it comes to power scaling. Jozu and Marco, they were seasoned veterans of the Whitebeard Pirates. Ace, you can't say that. You can't say that. Ace spent a few years there, but he's not a super seasoned veteran of the Whitebeard Pirates. Furthermore, the officers of the divisions, the division commanders of the Whitebeard Pirates, they're not based on, like, Marco. You just can't assume that Marco is the strongest division commander because he's the #1 division commander. So what I'm trying to say here is that based on the divisions, it's not necessarily a testament of their skill or power level among the Whitebeard Pirates. I would assume that Marco is the strongest because Marco, he's the vice captain of the overall Whitebeard Pirates. At least I believe so. Yeah, he is. But that doesn't necessarily make him stronger based on just being him a division commander. Okay? So basically, Jozu can be stronger than Ace, even though he is the 3rd division commander. Just because he's number 2 doesn't mean that he's stronger than Jozu. Not at all. That doesn't mean that at all. So, that being said, the foundation of the power scaling, in and of itself, is shaky, in my personal opinion. But the feats aren't shaky. Unless you want to, again, when it comes to Ace and Blackbeard, there is some leeway there. But Luffy's aren't shaky at all. Luffy is clear cut. Luffy's fucking island level plus destruction wise. His speed, he was able to outrun the explosion that Caesar Clown made him the origin of. He literally had the fucking slime on Luffy's body. Luffy was able to outrun that shit completely without a fucking scratch. He pulled a fucking Namek Saga Goku. It was like, bro, what the fuck, man? That was scarily impressive. Furthermore, Luffy, he knocked out 50,000 fishman pirates. An average fishman has 10 times the strength of an average human. A pirate fishman, you would assume, is at least 2 to 3 times more powerful than a regular fishman. He knocked them all out. Well, half of them. 50,000. So, it's really hard to go against the feats of Monkey D. It really is hard to go against the feats of Luffy. So, for now, because maybe there could be a flashback later on showing Ace's true power when he's not nerfed, or when something like that, I suppose. So there could be, because Ace, he was with Whitebeard in the New World, and he was doing fairly good. So, and the New World, we know, is a much more treacherous place than the Grand Line. So based on that, I mean, again, it's more power scaling. It's more hype factor for Ace. But when you look at the actual hardcore evidence, Luffy would have the edge. So I'm going to go there for now. For now, I'm going to say that Luffy is stronger than Ace. And that's my conclusion. So give me your thoughts. What do you guys and gals think about this topic at hand? And I will see you guys and gals later. So rate the video. Not that hard. You click on this mouse. Boom, boom. Very easy. Rate the video. Comment, subscribe. Have a nice one. And then, yeah, I know that, again, he has that higher bounty, the highest bounty in the One Piece verse thus far. But even in, I mean, we all should know this by now. Bounty is not a absolute testament to one's combat prowess. It's just not. We should all know that by now. Alright, so I'll see you guys later.